All right, we are back talking about the brain, and it's part of anger resolution because we don't understand the way that God has created us or the way the brain works. This is the interface, that gray matter between our ears that really connects us spiritually to our soul and then our soul to our physical body. Everything shuts down if something goes wrong with the brain because it is the interface, it is the computer. We call it, in core programs, the computer of our brain. And because we're very much unlike a computer, it's been created. And I think it's interesting that we can sit in front of, I know this is for me, I don't know if it's for you, but I could sit in front of a computer, feel really dumb about how smart that computer is compared to me. But the way they designed computers was based on the human brain. Our brain receives, it perceives, actually, it perceives first. Like, when you first turn this program on, this podcast on, it will take you less than 20 seconds that 96% of your brain will already say, this is what I perceive. I don't really like this lady, or hey, she's cool, or I like the voice tone. I don't like the voice tone. However, whatever it is that you look at and you say, this is what I perceive, this is what's going to happen. Then your brain decides next, do I receive what I perceived? Do I take that in? And that can all happen just within seconds. I know because I speak all over the place, and I've been in many conferences and things like that. So when people stand up, you'll come walking across the stage. They announce them. It's the first thing, a protective thing that your brain does is says, well, what do I perceive about that person? They seem kind of bossy, or they seem like they know it all, or there's a pride, or there's a shame, or wow, they're really cool. I really like how they relate. And it's sitting there trying to perceive, and it'll try to perceive, and it's really what it's saying is, do I feel safe? Am I safe? I think I'm starting to perceive that I'm safe. Is that what I'm going to receive? And so if we don't feel safe right out of the gates, if I somehow am making you feel unsafe right out of the gates, you're just going to turn this. You're just going to turn it because your brain will determine I actually don't want to receive what I'm perceiving. So sometimes our perception's off though. Sometimes the very thing that's supposed to help us, we're like, I don't want to receive that. That reminds me of, and we'll take it back to, maybe our childhood or when someone else was trying to tell us what to do or a sensation that we had. And so our perception can be off. So we have to really watch and filter, what is it? How am I interpreting this person? How am I interpreting this information? Because just to read the Bible, for instance, you're going to read it with perception. This is how I see God. This is what, and then you'll decide what you are going to learn or grab or eat from the Bible as to what, and this is what I receive. I receive healing from this. And you can read the Bible 10 times over and have a wrong perception. Like, it's not even for today. It's not even true. It's just a history book. It's whatever. And that's what you will receive. So our perception, our perceiver is very much a knowledge based, a sensory based. It's something that can interrupt or add to us in what we receive out of life. So we perceive, then we receive what we perceived, and then we'll sort that. What of it am I going to recall? What do I deal with later? Is that information that should be retained? No, I'm opposed to that. I don't want to. I received it enough to hear it, but I am not adding it to my life. Throw that out. It will do all of those things. A good functioning computer does all of those things. When you go to um, put information into it, your computer is perceiving what you put in. It's receiving what it can based on the apps that are on your computer, based on its capacity, based on the information it's able to process. Because you can try to process something very intense that has a lot of information, try to run that through your computer, and your computer can lock up, which is really saying, I don't have a big enough space to house this. So we're just got to shut it down. I cannot even operate on that. So we need to know when our brain stops sorting. We need to know when we describe it like I'm stuck. This is what I perceived about something. This is what I received about it. And now I can't even sort this out. It's way too big. If it's normal information coming in, like, the chores around the house or should I mow the lawn or whatever, you can perceive that, receive that, sort that, go do that. And it's very smooth, and you're almost like thinking about it subconsciously. It's not something that you're putting a lot of time and energy into. But when harm has come your way, and when hurt has run you over, and you feel almost cursed, like anything I touch just is going to blow up, or it'll subtract from me, or there'll be some type of thing that hurts coming my way again, and I'm anticipating it's going to be really hard for you to sort out thoughts. Um, I had gone through a lot as I was growing up, and in doing that, I developed a certain perception, and that's what I received or whatever. And I could sort things really fast in certain areas. In other areas, it was like, I don't know what to do with that. So when you can't sort, you stockpile, right? It's very similar to the word depression, which means to press in. And if you're interested in learning about that, there are podcasts on our site regarding depression and oppression. But anyways, if we're not able to sort, we're really saying, there's too much information. I actually don't have the program to run this in my computer. I can tell because the little spinny thing in my brain just keeps spinning and it doesn't want to load. And then it'll say insufficient something. I mean, that's what happens on a computer. It'll lock up. And that's what happens in your brain. So sometimes we just keep jamming the same information through trying to get a different result. And we don't have the program to run that. That's where Proverbs says, get knowledge, get understanding. Then wisdom comes and rests on that, right? Wisdom will help you see the past, the now, and the future, where you're going. It'll do that. But if we just keep trying to ram this thing through or whatever, you get the same results. All of us know when we're trying to get something done and our computer locks up, or it's not processing, or we have to get an app or whatever, there is a little bit of feeling of irritation. And for some people, out of their office, you'll hear, come on, or what is happening, dumb computer or whatever, will start being critical, all kinds of things. It's the same thing when we're trying to process and sort life. It'll be, come on, get out of my way when we're driving. There's no grace for ourselves. There's no grace for other people because we're sorted out. We don't have the program to run extra material. This is when we get into on our new podcast that'll be coming out. It'll be Hope Dealers, and we'll be dealing with all forms of trauma, abuse, and recovery from addiction. And this is where when you can't sort, after a while, you just go self-medicate. You're like, well, then I'm shutting the whole computer down. We're just going to shut it down. It's way too hot. There's way too much stuff that I don't have the apps for. I'm not going to go get the apps. I just got to medicate because I got to go to work tomorrow. I can't be, messing with this or whatever. And I'll just have 3 beers and go to bed. Or, I'll just watch some porn and act out. Or I'll just go gamble for the weekend just to get my mind off. Just pretend I'm somewhere in life that I'm not. But I refuse to sort. I'm going to let that sit for a little bit. First we perceive, then we receive, then we sort. And if we're not able to sort out, it's a tough spot to be in. And everybody has some, let's say some things shoved in the closet of your brain. Or, I use an illustration we'll get into in the future of the garage of our mind, where we just got all kinds of boxes piled in there, and you decide, that's it, I'm cleaning out my memory system. And you open the garage of your brain and you look in there and you're like, that is way too much, and close it down. And that's where procrastination will start kicking in and things like that. So now a healthy brain sorts, then it analyzes what it sorted. In order to sort that, you're like, oh, this actually I should hold on to for a little bit until I have, the real thing, the ending to it. It's like a sentence that doesn't have a punctuation at the end. I really need to put a punctuation on that. I need to analyze it enough and sort it out to know what's good for me to keep and what I have to take action on, what needs to be done. And then it'll compare. The computer will compare to other things we've run through before. It'll analyze as that's going on because you're in the sorting. Then it says, you know what? Let's catalog this. We sorted this puppy out and we compared it and we think we got a pretty good handle on this. Our mind, will, and emotion says, yeah, let's go ahead and catalog this. Where's the file cabinet? We're going to put it in this category and in this file. And then you're looking for it to be a memory or a resource or something that you can grab a hold of anytime that you need it. And then our brain is capable of all these files are lined up so nice. It wouldn't be wonderful if our brain just had those files just always lined up really nice. Um, but we've all been affected by sin. We either participated in it or it's happened to us. And so the result of that is messed up filing systems, an inability to sort things. I have a hard time with analyzing, comparing, and cataloging. And the sorting is just like, don't even talk to me about it. I don't need to sort anything. And what we're doing is having hoarding happen in our brain. So then, if it's good though, we're able to retrieve those files when needed and they're a help to our life. The problem is if we don't receive it right, sort it right, analyze it, compare it, catalog it. When we go to file it, it might end up in the file cabinet, might not, it might be randomly sitting on the desk of our brain. And then it takes a trauma to re-bring it up, an argument to bring it up, a feeling of being threatened to bring it up. And then we'll get in those files and we're looking to retrieve information to use against another person or to justify our situation or whatever. It's not necessarily to help us. It's a protective thing. Like I have to keep all these files out. We don't even want to file them because at any time I might need to pull this file and remind my husband that he said this to me. And I might need to pull this file and tell my boss, no, you're not taking advantage of me anymore. And I might need to see, because we didn't categorize them and file them the right way to begin with, we're retrieving them and we're going to utilize them. And then we determine where our life is going based off of them and we make a choice. All of this can happen over a few days. It can be a process that you're stuck in for years. It can be something that's so fast that it's just like, oh, I brought that to resolve and this is the choice I made. And I actually forgot about that. I'm moving on. It's such a clean feeling to just being able to move on. It's really tough on the brain, though, when you don't have the right perception and then we receive things in a way that causes us not to be able to sort. And we're not going to analyze. We're not going to compare. We're not going to catalog properly. The filing system's a mess. I think when I first gave my life to Christ in 1981, if you could have looked in the office of my brain, I mean, there were files everywhere. It was like nothing made sense. There was no dates on them. It was just like, there goes some more files. And then I would medicate to try to make those things go away. So then I give my life to Christ and I'm like, I got to look in the office of my brain and figure this thing out so I can process better. It was a work and I was mad about it. Like, why do I have to do this? Especially those files that I perceived everyone was a bully because I feel like a victim. And I was running all the files through that. Was I bullied? Did I get hurt? Those things? Yes, I absolutely did. But you can't take all of life and run it through the file of I'm a victim, and that makes everyone else a bully. And then your choices are limited because remember, I've said before, and some of you have come to my classes, you hear this often enough, like she's saying it again. All crisis demands change. It's not playing. It's not asking you if you want change. A tornado hitting the barn is not asking if you wanted that to happen. All crisis demands change. And all change demands decisions. Now that the barn's been mowed over by the tornado, I have to make a choice. Do we keep farming? Do we keep, doing whatever? Do we rebuild? All of those things? It's tough stuff. It demands a decision. And this is where our brain will lock up and say, I don't even know how to perceive this. I don't know what to receive about this. I can't sort this. I can't analyze it. I can't compare it to anything. I don't have any catalogs to put it in. My filing system is overwhelmed. I mean, I just feel like we're all going to die. I can't retrieve anything positive out of it. And I can't utilize the information, nor can I determine anything or actually make a choice. So I am froze. That thing, because we don't know what options to choose from, has now froze us up. And we're just like in ice, just frozen in ice in time. And this is where I'll see someone loses a loved one, and it's 20 years later, they're still frozen in the ice. Should you feel a loss? Should you feel some emotion toward the person, a missing of them or whatever, a regret for the tragedy or however it took place? Yeah, maybe. But you did get permission to move on. In a healthy situation, your brain will work all that through and it'll get the information that's truth, which I said before, the only way you can get truth is through Christ. Not religion, but through the person of Jesus Christ. He's the way, the truth, and the life, and He's love. And you allowed love to change your perception, and you received something totally different about it. It gave you the ability to sort that and go down through the whole process. And now I actually can choose. I can see options. I can see options. The feeling of being stuck is so much like being smothered. It's just like, I can't breathe. I can't get air. Stop. And the person has control, or like being choked or something like that. There's this feeling that the thing has all control. I have no options at all. Even in martial arts, part of what makes the ability to use martial arts is if you believe, you can learn all the moves, and do all this kind of stuff and the flipping people and all that. But if your perception is everyone's a bully and I'm a victim and I'm going to come out of this as a victim, your brain won't use the knowledge it has and the time that it's needed to defend yourself. It's the brain that says, I already made a choice. This is what I'm going to do if I'm in this situation. I've learned the knowledge. I have computed this. It is logged in. I've practiced it in the physical. This is what's going to happen. And there's a confidence that I don't need to hurt people. I'm just going to protect myself. That's what I'm going to do. I didn't learn all this to hurt people. I've learned this to protect myself and others if need be. And so then we'll step into that with a confidence. We don't have to get all tough and rough. It just is, right? There's a confidence that just goes, this is the knowledge I have, and this is what I'm going to operate out of. Like I've said before in anger resolution, the people who are so angry and they're so loud and they're, and I'm going to do this to you or whatever, those are the people that are going totally out of their soul and they're going totally out of an emotion, and the knowledge base is not there. Most of the time, they're the people who are the most scared, um, and they're acting out of the fear of being hurt again. So, so they have to be louder. They have to be pusher because they want you to record at a loud level. They want your computer through your five senses to feel all of what they're trying to say and how they're trying to come against you. And there's no reasoning in it. It's just on you like white on rice. And that feeling then, it feels just so overwhelming. Then they say, I have control now. Now I've scared this other person. Because to sit down and talk about something, to confront something, to care enough about another person, to care from something is actually scarier to them than punching somebody in the face, right? I know because I grew up like that. And so to actually do the functional thing is so scary. To do something dysfunctional comes so natural. And I was scared, so now I'm going to scare you. But we're not really going to get anywhere. It's just, a dog eat dog kind of thing. Who's gonna be the loudest? Who's going to be the most scariest? And you don't resolve. Resolving anger. This is why this is called anger resolution and not anger management. If we learn how to manage things, yay, that's great. We do need to have that skill. But in the end, if you don't resolve the root of why you get angry to begin with or how you handle your temper, you're in trouble. You're only going to be able to white knuckle that thing so long, and you're just going to lose it. And then you won't trust yourself, and you'll begin to. Anger's got a voice, got to go somewhere. It's either going to act out on people again, or you're going to feel bad that you acted out, and you'll act out on yourself. You'll start subtracting from your own life to the point, and we'll deal with this in further podcasts, but suicidal ideation many times is the computer does not know how to sort. It doesn't know its options. It doesn't know how to take and calm down those five senses that recorded everything loud and now are re-experiencing what was recorded. It doesn't know how to compute that. Remember, this is a computer of the brain, and your spirit is running voice through it, trying to speak to the soul who's really operating there, the mind, the will, and emotions, where everything is recorded, and bring things into order. If we don't understand that, we'll just start acting out on ourselves, trying to punish ourselves in a way to get us under control, and we'll talk about ourselves like that, like we're no good, or there's some things that God just got to beat me over the head with a baseball bat. I heard one guy say before he can get anything through to me. That's not true. That's not true. You're allowing it to be that way. And your perception is that he does that, but he doesn't. He doesn't use those tactics. He doesn't borrow from the devil's kingdom to teach you anything. That's a perception off. Well, if your perception's off, then that's what you receive. Then that's how you'll try to sort things, and that makes it messy. You won't be able to analyze because there's no truth in it, or compare it, or catalog it, or file it, because things will be filed in such a messy way because it takes absolute truth to dispel a lie, and it takes absolute truth from his word, right? Something that's righteous and something that's wrong, we're able to divide those things out. That will help to show us, hey, these are my options. All crisis demands change. All change demands decisions. But we won't choose if we can't see the decisions that we're allowed to make. If there's no option in our mind, the world will keep telling you, choose something, choose, come on, get going, do this. You'll just freeze up because you're like, I don't trust any of the choices. I don't see all the choices. And so I'm just mad at myself. I hate me because apparently there's something wrong with me. I'm flawed. I'm defective. That's another lie from the pit of hell. It's from the pit of hell. It's absolute lie. And I'm trying to say this with fervor because I want you to hear this is truth to you right now. The absolute lie is that you don't have choice. Choose you this day whom you will serve, Scripture says. Choose life that you might live. Well, I don't see any life here. Well, you're not seeing the options. You got to get with a bigger dog than where you're at. A big dog is somebody who knows something you don't presently know and has something that you don't presently have. The Word of God is definitely that. There are a lot of good people out there who have been with truth that can now say, hey, did you not see you have an option over here? You could choose this, and it might hurt, but only for a little while. And you choose that, and it'll be over with. One time I showed up at a church, and there was a lady there. I was early, and the pastor wasn't there yet or whatever. The doors were locked. And there was a lady there on the streets, and she came up to me and said, I'm at the end. I think I just want to die. See, this is where the suicidal ideation comes from. And remember, suicide, there's two meanings for that. It's the sudden taking of your life. And the bigger meaning that people operate in a lot when their computer's not working right is a slow decay of your destiny. A slow decay of your destiny. So if we don't see that we have choice, we're slowly decaying our destiny. So she didn't see that she had choice. She was stuck. And I said, so what's going on? She said, well, the jail is right over there. I'm supposed to be turning myself in tonight. If I don't turn myself in and do my 3 days, then they're going to add to my sentencing. And then I could be arrested for blah, blah, blah. And she went down the line or whatever. And to me, not having any emotion around it, I'm like, go do the 3 days, my friend. But she wasn't seeing that. She felt really threatened by that. And that would make her a horrible person because she's now entering jail. If you can sit and watch a series on TV, you could do jail for 3 days. I'm just saying, you're doing time, right? Read a book while you're in there. They got Bibles laying around. Get into that or whatever. Check out what they have for classes and things like that. You might be able to learn something while you're in there. We're talking 3 days. But she was so gridlocked in her computer. What she perceived was that it's so dangerous and I just can't do this. I don't want my family knowing that I did this. So I'm going to receive that, it's not good for me and I'm not going to be able to sort this out. I'm just going to run over 3 days. I said, just go, I will take you. So I did. I walked her over to the jail and we checked in. And the whole time I was like, see, you didn't die from that. See, this is what's going to happen. And literally, I will see you in 3 days. At the end of 3 days, I want to see you and let's go do this, this, and this. And she was like, thank you so much for helping me make that choice. And she was happy. And she went in there, did her 3 days, and then realized she didn't die from that. The things that she was looking to do, like run and everything, were far worse than spending 3 days in jail. I'm just saying. So sometimes our perception's off where it messes up our ability. Absolute fear says, don't make a choice, even if you see the choice. Or I'm so hot in the underside of my brain, my cognitive area that really wants to make a choice is so stuck because it only sees that negative sensation that's going through me. Like I will surely die if I have to make a choice. It's kind of the feeling. And the body's stuck in trauma where choosing and conquering. She conquered the 3 days. So then I said to her, guess what? If you can conquer that, think about the other things that you thought were so big. Just go do them one at a time. How do you eat an elephant? Feels so big, one bite at a time. And that's what she learned to do. And you know what? She's very successful today. And I just believe it's because something broke there in that moment when she chose to do the next right hard thing. She chose life. And we're not trying to get out of life. We're trying to get into life and do the next right hard things because those are the things that produce longevity of life inside of us. Even if they were something that we really don't want to do or the thing that we know we have to do, but it just feels scary or whatever. We're overcoming this stuff one thing at a time. And I want to encourage you, part of anger resolution is not running. It's not escape. It's not, I have to get out of here. It is saying, what of this can I make a choice about? And just go do that thing. And if I cry because I had to do that thing, I won't die. If I have emotions that I really don't like to feel, you won't die. You're going to live. Choose. And then when you suffer through that thing, suffer well. Suffer in the way that says, I only have this much more time. And in the end, it's going to come out so much better. I will be free. Who would want 3 days and running from state to state and hiding out in people's houses because you got 3 days over your head? Just go do the 3 days. Now, some of you might have bigger things that are going on. But if we practice taking care of the smaller things for sure, then we'll be braver to face those bigger things. But if we let it all pile up and there's files in our brain laying all over the place and we never did deal with it, well, that's going to be a problem, Bob. And I just want to let you know that this is how your brain works. And you can go against the grid. You can you can grind that gear or go about it the right way. And it caused some suffering, but in the end, you're free. It's time to download some new programming. It's time to get new information, regret the old way, and make a change.